What's good, y'all? It's your boy Merv, and y'all know y'all watching the Black and Gold Hour show, a show where we talk about your New Orleans Saints, who are leading the NFC South right now, number one in the division, as we expected them to be when this season started. It's only been 9 weeks. We got Week 10 game coming up against the Minnesota Vikings, but it's been a long season, a lot of highs and lows, and a lot more to go. But the New Orleans Saints are in control of their own destiny, as they are now at the top of the NFC South by a whole game. The Minnesota Vikings were able to beat the Atlanta Falcons yesterday, right after the Saints beat the Chicago Bears. So that was nothing but big ups for the New Orleans Saints. And the Carolina Panthers are still developing, and the Bucs are continuing to fall off. I think they just dropped to 3-5. So the New Orleans Saints are in control of their own destiny, like I was saying before. And I want to kind of cover my thoughts and reactions as I was in the building in the Superdome against the Bears, the highs, the lows, the things that still plague me as a New Orleans Saints fan. But we're going to cover all of that as we get into today's episode. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. But let's just get into it. So the last New Orleans Saints game that I actually was at was the Tampa Bay Bucs game from this season. And it was one of those games where I'm a young New Orleans Saints fan. I'm only 28 years old. So most of my life I've seen Drew Brees. That was the first time in a long time I've seen Saints fans booing. The first time in a long time I've seen Saints fans leaving early. I was one of those. I left about 2 minutes early because the game, it was just too much going on. The New Orleans Saints just were making Baker Mayfield look like one of the top quarterbacks in the NFC. It was just not one of the situations. It just made me sick. I went to my grandma's house and I started eating and took that Saints lost nap. But the New Orleans Saints have righted the ship. I believe that they're still riding the ship. I believe that is something that is continuing to progress as the season goes on. I do see the offense getting a little bit better. I think although they only scored 24 points yesterday, I did see them moving the ball. It's still the red zone that's kind of a concern inside the 30-yard line, where I think the New Orleans Saints are really struggling. But I say, hey, keep bringing Taysom in. The teams have to show that they can stop it. And Derek Carr has shown that in the red zone, he's not getting it done. And that's just been a theme of throughout his entire career. And it's funny that Taysom was the one who threw the touchdown pass to Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson, we're happy to have you back, boy. He's looking like a beast. And I begin to think maybe if Juwan Johnson was more involved earlier this season, would the offense look a lot better? Because Derek Carr seems to be a guy who likes to throw the ball to the tight end, who likes to look for the tight end, who likes to look for the check down with his running back. And we see Alvin Kamara leading, I think he's second or third in the league in receptions right now. So, I'm happy to see Juwan Johnson come back. I think the offense is still forming. I think we saw a 3rd and 5 where they did throw a streak route. It was a time as a New Orleans Saints fan where Sean Payton was calling so many screens that I was like, man, I never want to see a screen again. And now I feel like already with Pete Carmichael, I'm like, man, if I see another streak again, I'm just over it. Especially on 3rd and 5 or less. It's just too much, man. And I can see Saints fans a little anxious. We wanted this game. The Chicago Bears also wanted this game. But the Saints fans, we needed this game. We knew what this game meant to the NFC South. And we knew what this game meant as far as playoff positioning. Yes, I look at this New Orleans Saints team and I'm saying playoffs in the same sentence. I know, it's crazy. But I really believe the New Orleans Saints are in position to go to the playoffs. If you look at the rest of the schedule, it's, like you said, the easiest. Detroit Lions is going to be the hardest game for the Saints. Daniel Jones is out with injury. Kirk Cousins is out with injury. We just played an injured Chicago Bears team without Justin Fields. We see that it seems like everything's aligning. It seems like for so many years, every other team would catch a break, but now the New Orleans Saints are catching a break. It seems like, and we don't wish upon injuries, but it seems like these are all very winnable games for the New Orleans Saints. And though Detroit is a really, really good team, I do believe that when the New Orleans Saints play their best, nobody can beat them. I'll say on the defensive end, they did struggle in the first half, but I turned to my dad who was in the stands beside me and I said, Dennis Allen, one thing I'll say about Dennis Allen is he is very good at adjusting. He's very good at adjusting. And I knew that he would adjust. And once things got into the third quarter, late in the third quarter, fourth quarter, we saw Tyler Bagston. He wasn't able really to do his thing, what he was doing in the first half. And I'm scared because we got Dobbs coming up, another running quarterback next week against the Vikings. So we're going to see if the New Orleans Saints don't even have to adjust, if they just come into the first quarter playing and locking down those mobile quarterbacks as they did in the third and fourth quarter yesterday. New Orleans Saints, man, overall, man, my thoughts about the team right now, I would say that the team is getting better. They're getting better. They're getting better. They're getting better. And I always believe, I know that there are teams who are elite. We got the Eagles, Dallas, San Francisco 49ers. We have so many elite teams in the NFC. But my best thought is, I grew up playing sports. I had people around me who played sports. And it's just about, hey, once you get into the playoff, anything can happen. And with this New Orleans Saints defense, anything can happen. I can see them locking down any offense that the NFL has to throw at us because I have that much faith in the New Orleans Saints defense. It's just the offense that I'm concerned about. But I believe that the offense is starting to use what's working. We've seen Saunders out there again, and he actually ran a route this time. He's going to get the ball eventually. I turned to everybody in the stands, and I was like, look, he going to get the ball eventually, man. And everybody was like, yeah, it's definitely going to happen. Hopefully it happens in a playoff game or something like that because I just know the crowd is going to go crazy. But if the New Orleans Saints win the NFC South, then they get a home playoff game. And I don't know if y'all forgot. I know the Saints haven't really won at home a lot in the last few years. But we know what the dome field advantage means. And I'm kind of getting hyped. I'm starting to get hyped right now, especially as we look ahead. We got the Vikings right now. Then we come back and we play the Atlanta Falcons, who, is our rival. We always play them tough. And then we have a Giants game. We have the Rams. We have Detroit. Then we have a Bucks, and then we finish out with a Falcons game. And I definitely believe that all of those games are very winnable games. Yes, even the Detroit Lions game. And the reason I say that's a winnable game is because look at our New Orleans Saints defense. Look what they're able to do. Yes, they have to show up in the first quarter to be able to stay in the game. But what I'm saying is New Orleans Saints can beat anybody with this defense. I may sound like one of those optimistic Saints fans, but I mean, we have all the pieces on defense. We just need our offense to string together some wins. I definitely think if the New Orleans Saints, going back to what I said at the beginning of the season, if they can score at least 24 points per game, they're going to be a tough win or loss every week. Every single week, the New Orleans Saints are going to be a tough win or a tough loss. And I believe in the playoffs. Look, it's not over till the fat lady sings. So I definitely think the New Orleans Saints, should just, continue to piece together these wins. We're right where we want them. We're right where we want to be, right at the top of the NFC South with a game ahead. We can't afford to take any losses that we shouldn't lose, that we shouldn't win. I think the New Orleans Saints are in position to roll into the NFL playoffs, and then from there it's up. But it's still a little early. We got to see what the coaching staff does. We got to see if they continue to improve and take a look at what's working and not the identity that they created for themselves. And that's something that I think the New Orleans Saints have struggled with in the last few years, even when Sean Payton was here. They wanted to stick with the identity that they have known themselves by instead of going with what's working. Even yesterday, I actually kind of applaud the fact that Michael Thomas did the post-game speech with Coach Dennis Allen because he didn't catch any passes. I think he only had maybe 1 or 2 targets. Now, that one target did result in a flag that was a first down and kind of was one of those things that kind of put the game away. But what I'll say about that is, honestly, man, identity would have been to throw to Michael Thomas 10, 15 times, 7, 8 times a game, and get him the ball and kind of get Alvin Kamara the ball, even if it's not working. And although we want Michael Thomas to get the receptions and do what he needs to do, the New Orleans Saints found a way to win. And that's something they haven't been able to do. Even in Drew Brees' last 2 seasons, they seem to find a way to lose in the final moment. So they were able to get the win. They was lit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and one thing I'll say is, like, the New Orleans Saints fans, they felt it. You could feel it in the area around this game. Like, the Saints and the Saints fans, they felt like this was the win to get us onto the next level. We were turning the page and going to another chapter of this New Orleans Saints season. So I can't wait to see how the season continues to go on. We got the Vikings next week. When they're injured, they have an injured quarterback. They have Dobbs, or they might have Allen playing at quarterback. But I think the New Orleans Saints are in position to win again. We know how the Vikings have scorned us before in numerous seasons, but hopefully we can get the win and get that W. But thank you guys for watching. That's just my quick reaction. I'm excited. That's my opinion right now. I'm excited. I'm thinking about the Saints and playoffs in the same sentence. I just believe these New Orleans Saints have to string together just a few more wins to beat a bad NFC South. And secure a home playoff game. And once we get a home playoff game, anything can happen in this NFL. Thank you guys for watching. Before I go, last week I butchered the verse, so I want to give y'all a Merv Speak segment from Matthew 6:34. But before I freestyle it, I'm actually just gonna read it for you guys. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. So let's take a look here at Matthew 6:34. Matthew 6:34 says, "Therefore, stop worrying about tomorrow, because tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." And so many times in life, there's different challenges, anxious thoughts and feelings that come across our mind when we're working towards things, when we're trying to be the best version of ourselves. For example, we may be trying to work out and we have a goal, a fitness goal. But if every day you're continuing to look at the fitness goal instead of actually going to the gym one day at a time, eating healthy, one meal at a time, then you'll never get to where you want to be. It's important just to focus on each day. Wake up each day and focus on this day instead of worrying about the challenges, the things that may happen, the things that might happen, the things that will never happen, the things that you create in your mind. It's important to have power over your mind and to remember to just focus on what's in front of you today. Don't worry about troubles that may never happen or that might happen tomorrow, because you never know how much can change in one day. You never know, what can change in one moment. So don't worry about what's going on tomorrow. When I say tomorrow, I mean an hour from now. Don't worry about that. Just focus on this moment right here to be the best person that you can be. Thank you guys for watching the show. It's your boy Merv. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It's getting dark. I don't like when it gets dark early, but your boy gotta get inside and make that food. But thank you guys for watching. Peace. Be easy. Do that.